Welcome to this thing I'm doing, this podcast. I don't have the name yet. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm thinking wording better with GW. Who knows what I'm gonna call it? Well, I mean, future me knows. You viewing this know, but I don't as of recording this. I decided it'd be a bit of fun to have kind of a podcast where I do my bit of first impressions on Neon Genesis Evangelion or Evangelion. I think it's Evangelion because I've never seen it. And I was wanting to kind of start a podcast to this like anyways. So, for those of you who don't know, Neon Genesis Evangelion is an extremely popular anime that was brought over a few years back to the US in a proper capacity by Netflix. That's really all you need to know for me to preface this. Other things important about it: it's a mecha anime. It's apparently got a lot of themes. And of course, it's kind of how should I say it? Got a very passionate crowd. We'll say people are not happy with the Netflix translation, but thankfully I watched in original Japanese, so I should be okay as long as I didn't mess up the subtitles too much or mess with them. I suppose I'm not sure mess up would be the word I should use there, but but I have a bit of an advantage in talking about this. You see, I've read Genesis, like the original Genesis, about 4 times through now. So like I really know what I'm talking about when it comes to Genesis. I know about the debates about it. I know, the biblical stories of creation. I know the lineages stuff. I have all that down in my brain. So I have all that information just downloaded like a supercomputer. So I'm able to more accurately judge this because this is actually an adaptation of, well, Genesis. So as somebody who's actually, read the light novel, I can go ahead and compare that to, well, the original to this very easily. I can detect the themes. And so far I'm seeing some pretty interesting stuff. So they obviously, this is an adaptation, so they're going to change a few things up to make things a little more how shall I say it, palatable for our modern audiences. Because let's be honest, a lot of people when they're reading Genesis are like, these thous, this guy was begat this guy. They're just gonna lose interest. So they had to find a way to go ahead and adapt it in a way that would be a way that would be good for the modern audiences. In that way, I just want to say way as many times as I could because I would entertain myself in doing so. So anyhow, want to just go ahead and get into this. So we start out. I'm gonna give you a brief summary of the whole events, and as I do that, I'll give you a summary of the events, and as I do that, I'll kind of run through the themes that I'm noticing. Now, of course, this is the first impressions, so I can't compare seeing them. Oh, they're building this up in this episode, and they're building this up in that episode. I don't know that stuff yet because I haven't watched it. Okay, we see this little thing, this big old monster kind of swim. We see a set of like these tanks coming out. This monster swimming through the city. It comes out. It starts attacking. They try to destroy it. Not working out thus far. All the while, we're introduced to our main character Shinji, he's just this kid, and he meets this woman who she was racing her way to him, and you can already tell some theming there. It seems that we're going after with this portion of it because the monster I haven't mentioned yet is called an angel. And of course, angels are biblical characters themselves. They're, God's messengers. They're the people who fight for God, kind of like they're a tier above humans type thing. We're going with that. So we see this angel. He's just wreaking havoc, destroying a bunch of stuff, and they're just trying to fight him off. The whole city's been evacuated except Shinji, who's, considering going to a shelter before the woman finds him, and she takes him. She takes him to safety, though they nearly get killed at one point while they're trying to destroy the monster with what they think is their last go round. But then even that just doesn't work. Like they're shaking the car that they're in, knocks it over, and absolutely nothing happens. I mean, poor Shinji even gets sand in his mouth. Sand! Lucas warned us about this. George Lucas warned us about how dangerous sand could be. Okay, so I'm sorry. We're a little scatterbrained here, a little scatterbrained. I'm tired. But don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. They're failing to get the monster. They're kind of debating like, okay, what are we gonna do? Okay, you can try. Like they go up to this guy turns out to be Shinji's dad, and he's like, "Yeah, I can take care of that. Just just give us a little bit here." So, the woman is helping Shinji. She transports him over to what's called nerve headquarters, clearly based off the human nervous system. I'm not quite sure what theming they're going for with that yet. I get a feeling we're gonna see that in the future, but I really don't know too much about that because I haven't seen the rest of it. But I'm betting human nervous system is what they're going for with that. Anyhow, they get in and then they meet up with, and they get lost for a minute. So they meet up with this lady doctor. They just kind of start chatting, like, "Oh yeah, you've got no charisma, Shinji, just like your dad." And they get in, and it's interesting because since this is following the beginning of Genesis, we already know. Okay, so brief summary for the first few chapters of Genesis. Uh, God creates the whole world in 6 days. Then he goes, "Okay, hey, gonna chill now. Mankind's around. Okay, you know what? Adam's a little lonely now. It's like this is probably eighth day now. Okay, fine. We'll all go ahead and make him a little lady friend that he can have fun with, that he can make baby with." So they're chilling there, and then Snake comes up. He's like, "Oh hey, wanna go? Oh eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil? Why would we do that? So you'd be as smart as God." "Okay, but he said not to do it." "Yeah, but you should." And then Eve does it, and then Adam does it, and then they get booted on out of there. They're like, "Oh yeah, shoot, we're naked." They try to hide from God, and they get booted out. Now, because God found him pretty easily, he's God. It didn't go well hiding from the guy who's literally omnipresent. They leave, and now there's an angel guarding the Garden of Eden, where mankind originated, with a sword of fire, and they can't get back in. Now, it seems important for me to mention that this is where they're deciding to kind of change it up, which I'm not sure if I how much I'm going to enjoy that change of the light novel. I'm pretty attached to the way it went, but I mean, they're going to looks like they're going to leave out the Cain and Abel arc, so I'm a bit upset about that. That was one of my personal favorites, but Shinji talks with his dad, who turns out to be seeming apathetic towards him. He's only there because his dad needs him, and it's like the secret area that he didn't even know about, that the lady took him to see his dad. Now, now, I do feel it's important to note that I think this part right here is encapsulating much of what the series is going to be. It is capturing Adam's feelings when he was booted out of the Garden of Eden. Like, he's feeling unwanted, unloved, because how could you not? He's had his immortality severed. He's being cast out from the Garden of Eden. He's promised pain and toil all his life, and just as bad, if not worse, for his wife. How could he not feel that way? So when he's brought in, and his father, which Adam's father was, of course, God, and Shinji's father is kind of represented by this more apathetic, think Paradise Lost type of God, or more conceptually, the ideas of many theists who think that there's a more disinterested God. And this guy who he just says to his son that he doesn't really care too much. He just brought him because, oh, hey, he needs him now. So then there's this bait of, okay, you're going to pilot this mech called an Eva. You're going to use that, of course, Eva, like Eve, instead to fight the angel. Instead, much like how Adam and Eve would have to unite in much deeper ways than they had before. And now he has to go out and face this angel. That's what they're saying they want him to do. But he's like, "I can't do it. I don't. You just told me about this now. I can't." Again, he seems to be less driven than Adam would be. But again, this is the loss of innocence as well as the call to action all at the same time, instead of Adam's, who just lost his innocence and then had the call to action a little while later. Well, actually, no, they had them at the same time, so it's an interesting change of pace for that. I should say, actually, I'm so sorry. I'm like realizing this as I'm going along. So Adam lost his innocence, and then heard the call to action to go leave the garden, farm, take care of his wife, have children, grow old, die. That was what he was called to do. That was the call to action, and he had that just after he lost his innocence. So instead, it's like it just there instead of like a couple hours span as it might have been initially. Instead, it was like compressed into like seconds. So now you're seeing him having that call to action to go, but he's rejecting it. Like last time, even though equally he or he doesn't have a choice. He learns this when they wheel in this girl Ray. Like, okay, you're gonna pilot it, but she's like super sick and injured, and after like stuff collapses on top of them, the Eva actually protects him, which is something it's not supposed to do. Much like how Adam and Eve uniting instead of leaving, going to fight an angel would be. There'd be a rejection of what they're supposed to do, which is leave, farm, grow old, die. So he's like, okay, I'll go, just let her rest. Yes, they get him all suited up, they send him in, and he gets out, and he's and the angel's gearing up to fight. They're about to fight, and the episode ends there. And there's some music and the commercial for the next episode, which this leaves me interested. It's a very drastic change. I said initially, and I quote, I tweeted this right as I was about to watch it. Just give me, I'm so sorry, give me a second to pull this up. Trying Neon Genesis Evangelion. Not sure what all the hype is about, though. I've already read Genesis like 4 times. I don't know what having it in Neon is going to do for me, is going to do for it, but I'll give it a shot. Now, of course, this is a very reasonable thing to say. Why would it be in neon colors do much for me? Well, it turns out that that's not exactly what it is. It's much further than that, much more of an actual on-screen adaptation, which I appreciate. That's a nice difference. That actually feels like a valid new version. And now that we have that, we can see Shinji, he's gonna go face in the Eva one. He's gonna go face the angel, which is destroying everything, destroying his home, much like how Adam likely felt in the original light novel, like how Adam was supposed to feel in the Bible, in Genesis, feeling like his home was being destroyed, like everything was being torn away from him, and instead of accepting it, like in the light novel, he's fighting against it. And it's more righteous in that he's doing it to protect Rey, even if it's fulfilling his spiteful and apathetic and unkind father's wishes. And that, for me, I feel is going to be the key difference. That, I think, is what's getting me excited, is seeing how they're going to take this well-known and well-told story, one as old as one of the world's oldest religions, older in fact, and adapting it for modern audiences. This is really something I feel could be special. But I'll have to let you know in the next one. So thank you so much for watching. Give this a follow depending on what platform you're on, or subscribe. Give it whatever like or whatever equivalent there is. And be sure, if you have the option, to go ahead and comment. Let me know your personal theories for how this series is going to go. I'm excited, though. I've heard a lot about the ending, and I hope they keep it. I'm really attached to the whole Joseph dying in Egypt arc. But I'll let you know in the next episode. That's about all I have for today, so thank you so much for watching. This is G friggin' W, wishing you a good night, good day, and good friggin' bye.